It's Tuesday, October 5. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaica has been given B+ long-term and B short-term credit ratings by international credit rating agency Standard & Poor's S&P. According to a news release published on Monday, the rating action reflects its view that Jamaica's economic recovery, that is, should strengthen. S&P notes that Jamaica's commitment to fiscal consolidation fosters macroeconomic stability and supports the country's creditworthiness. In a responding statement, Finance and Public Service Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says Jamaica welcomes the positive rating action by S&P. He says the action is reflective of responsive yet disciplined policy choices and institutional strengthening, even while in a pandemic. The Cornwall Regional Hospital is still operating above its bed capacity despite a decline in COVID-19 cases in the country. Clinical coordinator for the Western Regional Health Authority, Dr. Delroy Frey, says the hospital had assigned 32 beds for patients with the virus, but now it houses more than 40 patients. Dr. Frey says wards have had to be repurposed to house the additional patients. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says a higher take-up of the COVID-19 vaccines will help the country to return to normal. He was speaking recently to persons gathered at the Port Maria Anglican Church in St. Mary to receive their vaccines. Mr. Holness commended their decision to protect themselves and others against COVID-19. The stop is a part of the government's vaccination community tour. The Prime Minister also took the time out to share his vaccination experience with a shopkeeper.
When I was in primary school, I was so afraid of the vaccines that they were giving that when it came my turn in the line, I went to the back. So I was probably the last person to get the vaccine. So even when I was taking the AstraZeneca shot, that fear of the needle came back. Great trepidation, fear of needles. So I didn't even look at the needle.
But that's the key to it, just look away.
I looked away.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel it. I'm telling you, I did not feel the needle. The second time, I could just go and look, and it's easy. So if that's your fear, you have nothing to fear.
The Prime Minister is urging persons who have taken the coronavirus vaccines to become ambassadors for the program. He is also reminding persons that several countries are requiring proof of vaccination before allowing visitors to enter their region. The Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, will commence the distribution of the newly designed voter registration identification card on October 11. According to the EOJ, all current voter ID cards will expire on December 31, 2021. The matter was a focus at a recent JIS think tank. Director of Elections Glaspel Brown says distribution of the new voter ID cards will be done at EOJ constituency offices between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Mondays to Thursdays, and from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Fridays.
We'll be doing the distribution of those cards across the entire island through our network of our constituency offices. And what will happen is that the persons who have sought to have applied for the renewal of their card, we will now visit the different constituency offices based on when and what they have indicated to us at the time of applying for their renewal, that their pickup sites. Also, there were a number of persons who were not required to come into our office to apply for a renewal. Their card will now be sent to where they were actually verified or they were actually registered. That is a cohort of persons from 2015 and beyond.
He says distribution will be done with COVID-19 safety protocols in mind.
So what will happen on a Monday, persons whose last name starts with A to E can then visit their constituency offices. On Tuesdays, persons with their last name beginning with from F to K can do so. Persons where their last name starts with L to P can visit their constituency offices on Wednesdays, and on Thursdays, surname that begins with Q to T, and on Fridays, U to Z. In going to the different location to pick up your new ID cards, we request of you or require of you, so as to allow the process to flow very smoothly, that you bring along with you your old voter ID cards. Also, you can take along with you the receipt that was given to you at the point of applying for the renewal of your card. If you do not have any of those, you can still visit our offices. We have the different means of ways and means to check to verify who you are and be able to deliver the ID cards to you.
Mr. Brown says all visitors to the EOJ offices are required to wear a mask covering the nose and mouth, sanitize upon entering offices, and observe physical distancing as outlined by the Government of Jamaica. Electors who visited EOJ offices to renew up to July 2021 can collect their new card at the pickup location they specified at the time of renewal.
Electors can do a number of things to determine, to ensure that you know where you are to collect your new voter ID card. You can visit the ECJ website at ecj.com.jm/query. Or you could call us or call in our head office at using our toll-free number 888-991-VOTE, or in other words 888-991-8683, or you can follow us on our social media platform at ECJ Jamaica.
The voter ID card renewal process involves the updating of voters' election information to include taking a photograph, retaking fingerprints where applicable, and updating demographic information such as electors' address, name, and date of birth.
The new ID cards will bear certain security features compared to what exists on our current ID cards, and as such, it's a totally different card. It's the latest technology we are using in terms of the features that will be on those cards.
To be eligible for registration, you must be a Jamaican or a Commonwealth citizen, at least 18 years of age, and must be ordinarily resident in Jamaica for at least 12 months prior to registration. The EOJ is advising individuals who are already registered to vote not to reapply. But if you have changed your address, you should visit the EOJ constituency office where you live. Mothers in the parish of St. Elizabeth and in general the western end of the island stand to benefit from the newly opened Santa Cruz Outreach Center. Carl Francis gives us an inside look at the new facility.
The Santa Cruz Outreach Center, operated by the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation, WCJF, is now officially open.
It's for teenage mothers, adolescent mothers, young girls who found themselves pregnant. Some have been abused, some was just experimenting, and so they're not able to be in school, attending the traditional school. And so the Women's Center provides the support that they will need to carry them through their pregnancy. They get counseling, classes are conducted, and they are taken through that period where they have their babies. Some may have come to the center after they have had their child. There's a nursery that's operated at the facility, as well as classroom facilities. We're now determining how we're going to provide furniture and furnishing for the facilities so we can start operating at this new location by mid-October.
The facility, built at a cost of $36 million, also houses a nursery manned by a team of qualified staff. They provide high-quality childcare for babies while their teen mothers concentrate on their studies.
We have an outreach center in Junction, but this facility is more central, and that is why it was so important for us to build this out and to make it available to the parish. The facility in Junction, we need to do some repairs there, but what we will do once we have done all the repairs is to have that facility operate just as a nursery. So, as you notice, I'm in this room, which is the area for the nursery, and we are making appeal. We're making an appeal to the public and to service organizations and so on to donate. We will accept furniture, toys for the children. And of course, in this room, as it is now, we need to install fans in all the rooms.
The Women's Center Program for Adolescent Mothers was established in 1978 in response to the high level of teenage pregnancy being experienced in Jamaica. Since its inception, the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation has assisted approximately 46,000 teen mothers. With the help of the WCJF, many of them successfully completed their secondary education. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Carol Francis.
We now get the latest foreign exchange rates and quick stock market updates, plus more in this timely business report with Gabriel Thompson.
Foreign exchange trading for Monday, October 4, the US dollar sold for an average $148.24. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $117.96. The pound sterling traded for $202.23, and the euro sold for an average $174.43. In Monday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index declined by 3,462 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 95 stocks, of which 32 advanced, 45 declined, and 18 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 34 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 1834 Investments Limited, Blue Power Group Limited, and Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and Barita Investments Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, CAC 2000 9.5% preference shares, and Community and Workers of Jamaica CCU deferred share. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited was the volume leader with over 3.4 million units, followed by Jamaican Teas Limited with over 3.2 million units, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 2 million units. In market data for oil, Brent crude oil futures stuck near 3-year highs on Tuesday, with U.S. benchmark crude close to 2014 peaks after the OPEC Plus supplier group decided to stick to a gradual output increase plan rather than fully opening the taps. Brent crude futures added 51 cents at $81.77 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude rose 50 cents to $80.98 after gaining 2.3% the previous session. Oil prices have already surged more than 50% this year, a rise that has added to inflationary pressures that crude-consuming nations such as the United States and India are concerned will derail recovery from the pandemic. And on that note, we close this Tuesday edition of the Business Report Inside the News on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Pleasant viewing.
Here are some of the stories being tracked across the region. In Trinidad and Tobago, Finance Minister Colm Imbert is expecting that food prices will subside and return to pre-pandemic prices in 2022. As he spoke on the agriculture sector, he also revealed that government will provide a $300 million agriculture stimulus package designed to support the country's food production sector. The agriculture sector was allocated over $1.2 billion in this year's fiscal package. Mahala Joseph Wharton has more.
Minister Colm Imbert said the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries has designed a series of agriculture projects and programs to access the stimulus package and said several of these projects are ready to commence.
The funding is intended to support the securing of adequate quality seeds, the use of an alternative feedstock, and the regularization of land issues to accelerate land tenure and access to idle state lands. This fund is in addition to the normal budgetary allocation.
Among the projects is an access road repair program which will commence in 2022 and will cover 80 kilometers and provide relief for over 400 farmers at a cost of $75 million.
The areas include Matlot, Toko, Manzanilla, Sangre Grande, Talparo, Wallerfield, Maracas, St. Joseph, Tunapuna, Orange Grove, Braco Seco, Paria, Blagices, Lupino, and Paramin.
He said the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries will elaborate on further measures for the sector during the debate.
Lands in Guyana are being made available for large-scale agricultural investment from stakeholders across the Caribbean community as part of the country's efforts to guarantee that the region has enough food for its people. This according to the country's president, who provided the keynote address at the opening ceremony of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture on Monday.
The amount of money the Caribbean spends on importing food is approximately US $5 billion annually. With this import bill, the challenge of access to suitable land for agriculture faced by some countries and external challenges such as disruptions to supply chains of goods and services, regional leaders agree that urgent action is needed to remedy the food security concerns. And President Dr. Irfan Ali believes that Guyana can help the region. While providing the keynote address for the opening ceremony of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture on Monday, Dr. Ali said that Guyana is making lands available for large-scale agricultural investments from the Caribbean.
Guyana, being resource-rich in land and fresh water, is desirous of leading in this area by making available appropriate lands as part of the process of promoting cross-border investment in agriculture. Guyana is currently embarking on a process of consolidating unused and underutilized lands with the aim of making suitable lands more readily available for supporting large-scale agriculture investments.
Assistant Secretary General for Trade and Economic Integration at the CARICOM Secretariat, Joseph Cox, noted that the region is working on reducing its food import bill by some 25% by 2025. He, however, noted that the disruption of the supply chain could have a potentially devastating impact on the region, and he said that the existing regional agricultural production already records a 20 to 30% loss due to damages and wastages. Meanwhile, Dr. Ali said that Guyana, which engages in large-scale agricultural production, can be a replicable model for Caribbean countries.
Guyana is de-risking its agricultural sector. Guyana is diversifying and modernizing local agriculture so as to create a more resilient sector. Guyana will promote increased research and development and innovation in agriculture and pursue climate-smart agriculture. We'll also be intensifying increased value added through agro-processing. Guyana is adopting an inclusive approach to the management of its agricultural sector, one which involves widespread and regular consultation with stakeholders.
Altogether, President Ali said that the transformation of the regional food system is absolutely pivotal to regional food security and regional resilience. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Bashani Ragwir.
In Antigua and Barbuda, ties between St. John's and Moscow were in the spotlight Monday evening as the twin islands welcomed the new ambassador from the Russian Federation. Jessica Russell reports on the virtual ceremony where the diplomat presented his credentials.
Sergei Petrovich is the new Russian ambassador to Antigua and Barbuda. He presented his credentials to Governor General Sir Ronnie Williams during a virtual ceremony Monday. He says there are opportunities to be exploited with an existing visa waiver between the states.
The visa waiver agreement, which we signed in 2019, opens good prospects for cooperation in the tourism sector. We should jointly think what is to be done to increase the flow of tourists in both directions.
A treaty on basic relations was agreed on by both countries earlier this year. He says Russia will continue to support the development of the country's human resources.
The Russian Federation will continue to assist Antigua and Barbuda in training of national staff. As you know, our country provides annually civilian educational scholarships for students from the Caribbean region, including Antigua and Barbuda.
The diplomat says his country is also hoping to build a closer relationship with the Caribbean community.
Your country is now chairing CARICOM, and Russia would appreciate any steps in this regard.
The ambassador also thanked Antigua and Barbuda for supporting Russian initiatives at the United Nations. Governor General Sir Ronnie Williams thanked him for his country's contributions.
We wish you a most successful tenure.
Jessica Russell, ABS News.
In sports, we look to football. Local football clubs stand to benefit from a capacity building workshop featuring a team from the Union of European Football Association, UEFA, Assist League Development Program. The workshop begins today, Tuesday, October 5, and will run through to Friday. The workshops will expose players to best practices in the modern league, with several topics aimed at building out the Jamaica Premier League clubs. The workshop follows on the heels of successful staging of the shortened Jamaica Premier League season, which ended last Saturday with Cavalier Football Club defeating Waterhouse to claim the Premier League title. And that's our package. Join us tomorrow, same time and same place, as we bring you more news and sports right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.